Part 3, sword. Okay, so a sword is essentially a long blade, okay? Bottom line. It's a lot of things, but it's basically a very long blade. I had a friend who used to refer to it as a 3-foot razor blade. And that's pretty accurate. So the same principles apply. We're not even going to talk about drawing yet. Well, let's talk about drawing first. The whole concept of drawing a sword in a very ritualized, formal way, it goes against Kobudo and Koryu, okay, which is much more practically oriented, okay? So what you want to understand about drawing your sword is you have to understand how to do it in a practical manner, okay? Not in a manner that just shows affectation, that just shows some sort of an aping of a style for its own sake. This is my problem with Aido. I don't have much love for it, to be honest. If you have to draw your weapon by the time you're attacked, you kind of screwed up, okay? So let's talk about that. When I draw this weapon, don't focus on the sword, focus on the scabbard. And when you focus on the scabbard, okay, I'm going to bring this down a little bit so we can kind of get a look at hip and leg action. Okay. I want you to watch my left leg here, okay? What I'm basically doing here, I'm shooting my left leg back, okay? And I'm pulling the scabbard back. I'm just pulling, I'll do it this way, okay? I'm just doing this, see? Now, there's a lot of variations the way I can do that. If I have to just get the sword out very fast, I can do it this way. That's not the best way to do it because I have all this pressure on my wrist here and my thumb. But if you have to do that, it's better to have the tsupa at an angle so that your draw works to your advantage. About here, okay? A lot of Koryu schools, they put it here also because you have other swords here that you have to clear, okay? But just this movement here, boom. And if you notice, my weight is frontal. Where your weight goes, your power goes, okay? You don't have to always be frontal on your draw, but if you're making an attack with that draw and you want the cut to have a lot of force, you want your weight behind it. You could conceivably do this as well if you think there's an angle that in the distance where you need to do this at that angle. You can also, you don't have to draw this way. You can draw here, but the same principles apply. Think of this as a muzzle. You aim this where you're going to draw, okay? You don't draw here. You'll get your arm cut off, okay? If I'm aiming towards the camera here, my draw is right here, okay? Right here. This is where and I virtually try to get this lined up before my draw. From here, okay? Now, a lot of these actions, you'll use them to varying degrees, okay? If I want to make a very powerful cut, and I have the time and energy, you know? Excuse me. Okay, a little bit more subdued, okay? The main thing is to get this action going so that you can get your weapon out. Once I get my weapon out, okay? Don't control the weapon, control your body. So I've made my cut here. Move your body if you want to go back. Don't move the sword back, okay? The body, all right? If I made this cut here and I want to come forwards, come in, okay? Don't telegraph. Don't bring this back first, okay? Once I'm here, if I want to make a cut this way, come in here, okay? Or if you want a less committed cut, right here, okay? See how I'm using my body and I'm just letting the sword come into a natural position. And notice my elbows and arms, okay? Notice their angle. They're not here, here. They're just up, as though an archer. Same positioning we discussed before. So along those lines, when you're adjusting your draw and your cuts and whatever else you're using, your weight figures into it, but so does your angle, your timing, and the distance. This is the skill. This is the art. And it translates, even though it's a sword art, it's for everything that we do. It's how we hit properly, how we use a bow properly, because you have no room for error with the sword, okay? And you do this, your draws can be while you're moving. You just have to understand, for example, when my foot hits, okay? Now my weight's forwards. That's a strong draw. That's a kesa cut. Kesa cut is actually a pretty weak cut, but if you look at the anatomy of the human body, it allows a path from the soft tissue up here through relatively smaller bones down to literally just the top of the hip assembly, okay? So with a heavy sword, with a kesa cut, and this is why the kesa cut is used, I suspect. Okay, if I'm drawing up here, for example, boom, you can literally cut from here through, catch a few ribs, and cut across right down into the soft tissues after the rib cage, down to the hip bone, okay? Can literally cleave a person. It's not practical to do that, and a lot of the cuts are done otherwise, but that's why that cut is used. You can also come here, okay? You don't have to, your angle's up to you. You control the sword, okay? But keep the sword where you're drawing it. Some people cut this way, that's bad, okay? If you're cutting this way, okay? What I tend to do is I profile, okay? If something's coming this way, okay? I have this and this, and my body moving this way, and then I can just draw the weapon, okay? And that is going to go to the side, because if I cleave down into the head, your head moves on your neck. How are you going to get your sword out of somebody's head? They're doing this as you're pulling it back and forth, as you've already, they're past it. Their journey is stopped on this one. They're on to the next world. But the point is that your head pivots around. So you have to come to the side so you can get your sword back. Okay, if I make a cut to your neck here, boom, I want to be able to draw the weapon back. Okay? These are just little things to think about regarding anatomy and the function of the sword that way, okay? Finally, your hands, okay? You don't want your hands, when I practice my draws, I practice from here, okay? I don't put my hand on the sword. Bad habit. You'll get your hand cut off and the person knows you're going to draw. This way, it doesn't matter where I'm drawing. I put my hands when I'm ready to draw, okay? And if you notice, when I draw in this direction, I'm not coming here, okay? I'm coming right up. You can't really even see the draw. It's just here, boom, okay? You can draw any direction, even if I have to draw this way. Same thing, here, okay, here, here. If maybe he's attacking the left flank, you just come here, cut the arm, okay, here, okay? When you put the sword back, which I'm not going to spend a lot of time on because it's not important, try to move the sheath more than you move the sword. That'll always give you control of the sword. But the truth of the matter is, if you're putting your sword back, I want you to think about something. The only time you should take your sword out, or your knife, or whatever weapon you're using, let's see here. Is if you have an intention to kill or maim, particularly to kill, okay? So my philosophy is, by the time you put your weapon back, it's a moot point, Okay? You're not going to be putting your weapon back in the midst of a conflict. You're going to take care of business. And that is just a personal opinion. But again, if you want to be careful about how you put your weapon back, the same principles apply. Control the weapon with the scabbard.